Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I'm John Burt. Thank you for joining me today. The weather's been pretty good lately, but we've been getting a little bit of rain too. And you know, it's that time of year. I did hear somebody on Facebook complain about the rain. I mean, we need it. We really do. But I drove down to the mall. Well, I didn't go to the mall because I tried to avoid that place like the plague. I don't know why. I'm just not a mall person. I mean, you go down there in the parking lot. I'm glad to see the parking lot's full, but you know, I just like individual stores. Yeah, I don't know. It's just me, maybe. I mean, I do go to the mall every now and then. I do like going up to JCPenney. They got some pretty good T-shirts I buy from them. You know, because they're extra long. I really like that. But I just wanted to talk about some fun things today. And then I do have some bills if I run out of fun things to talk about that we dealt with up to the State House. If not, I'll catch up to those bills later because, you know, there's days that I love being a state rep and I want to thank you for allowing me to be your state rep, but there's days that I go, it's over with. and I'll be honest, today was one of those days. You know, there was just a lot of fighting among the Republicans and Democrats and then among ourselves, and it's like, yeah, come on, can we get along once here up here? But I did announce June 1st is Hot Dog Day. And I've said it in the past, it's just incredible. I get up to the House floor and I get the speech right here and I go, you know, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, fine representatives, do you know what June 1st is? And they all scream, it's Hot Dog Day. So, you know, an hour before we're fighting like cats and dogs up there. Next thing, you know, not throwing punches, but, you know, I joke that we are. And there's people that want to strangle other people, and you know, but then all of a sudden we all come together and it's Hot Dog Day. And I think why it's so popular, and I started this, this is my 6th year. In the last 5 years, I've raised over $22,000 for dog groups. And this year, let me see who the dog group is. I want to get it right. Greater Dairy Humane Society. And I wrote in my speech, the reason I picked them is it's made up of volunteers, all volunteers, no paid staff. And I'm like, really? A former rep told me who this group. So I called them up because I was looking at 2-3 different groups. And when I talked to the guy that runs it, and he says, well, John, you know, we're all volunteers and we all operate out of our homes. So we got bedrooms set up because, you know, they're older people and, you know, the kids are gone. So they set these bedrooms up, and when they get a dog that's unwanted by somebody or abused or whatever in the area, they take that dog in and put it in that bedroom. You know, there's a gate there, and then they take it out and walks and everything else and, you know, get comfortable with the dog, and then it lives among them until they can find a home for that dog. And I'm like, right in your house. And they need, you know, help, and that's what Hot Dog Day does. It raises money for these groups. And that's why I'm really happy that I picked the Greater Dairy Humane Society this year right down in Derry. And I'm going down to see them, I think, this weekend. So it'll be, you know, after I've aired this, why it's airing, I've already been down there, I'm hoping. If not, I'm going to get down there pretty quick. Because what I wrote is that they do it right in their homes because the love they have for our furry friends. And I'll tell you, everybody just claps through the whole thing, and it's just hilarious. And I'll be real quick because on this, because I don't want to bore you. You know, you almost have to be up there. You know, Speaker Jasper, I really do like him. He's a good guy. Our politics are a little different, and he knows that. And I didn't vote for him because of that. I voted for Lori Sanborn, Representative Sanborn. She lost by, I think it was 5-6 votes. So Speaker Jasper won fair and square, and I pay him, you know, a lot of respect, and I do like him personally. Just Lori's politics is closer to mine, where, you know, Speaker Jasper's not. But I pick on him with, you know, our friendship because everybody knows I didn't vote for him. So it's just hilarious. It's almost an inside joke, but this is what I said. And I said, and if I know, Mr. Speaker, and I have brought this up in the past, how we have become good friends this year. Well, everybody laughs because they know that I didn't vote for him. And we even went to the range on a bill I spoke on, because on a previous bill, I said, you know, Mr. Speaker, imagine you and I at the range. The whole place just broke down to laughter. because like I said, a lot of people take it I mean, we need to take it serious, don't get me wrong. But it's just too stressful up there some days. It's like, and politics is. A lot of people don't even want to talk about it. And I love being up there. But there's days it's like, calm down, people. Let's get along. Okay, I disagree with you, but let's get along. But then I said, we even went to the range on a bill that I spoke on. I have a good parking spot in Store's parking garage, which you gave me. Because, I mean, that's where I'm going to be parking. He didn't, all reps that don't get a fancy parking spot at the garage right next to the State House get shoved over to the Store's garage. But I said he gave me that parking spot because we're friends. And I said, with that friendship, Mr. Speaker, brings even more happiness to Hot Dog Day. Once again, the Speaker's Ice Cream Social will be on Hot Dog Day. So the Speaker has an ice cream social, and he gives out free ice cream to everybody. And it's a huge benefit for everybody for having him, because he doesn't have to have it on ice cream or Hot Dog Day, but he does, and it really makes a big difference. I mean, just it's perfectly matched. Everybody's happy, and like I said, Hot Dog Day, I'll have more pictures on it, coming up. But it's June 1st. It's going to be my 6th annual Hot Dog Day. I can't believe how big it's growing. But I want to touch base. One thing. If you ever want to replace all your brakes on your truck and you can afford a garage, I would probably go to the garage. I've done my own brakes, and I'm telling you, what a chore that was. I was under my truck for 2 days. Luckily, I got pavement, so I got one of those creepers I bought because I knew this job was going to be big. But I mean, to go to a garage, it's huge money to replace all the brake lines. I was ripping out some of the old brakes, lifting them up out of the brackets. Ting! They would just break right in front of me, and I'm like, whoa, I've been driving this truck. Luckily, nothing happened, but I knew the brakes were bad. So, hopefully in the next day or so, I'm going to get the truck back on the road because it's been out of, up on the blocks for over a week and a half because, I've been trying to fit in the State House and, working, and then we got a bunch of rain, and then we got some nice days, but I was at work. So it just, I'm telling you, brakes were huge. I've learned a lot from them, and I got a couple friends that have been helping me. A rep, Dennis Green, he brought over this, and that's the bad part about it, is you need this $3,000 machine. It's a snap-on machine that you plug in, and then you do an ABS. It's like your emergency, your brakes there when you start sliding, your ABS brakes. You have to put that into a flush. Because underneath my seat, the driver's seat, 5 brake lines plug into it, and it has to be flushed out. And I'm like, all right, well, how does a common person does it? And I guess they don't, or unless you have a friend. And luckily, I do have a friend. He's really been a big help to me. I'm getting ready for Alaska, and I'm trying to decide how, what lens I want to buy, because I got that fancy camera. It's I'm trying to think, a Nikon D3300, I think it is. I really love the camera, but my lens only goes to 200. And I've taken some pictures, and I really want, like a 200 or 150 to 500 or 600. And, I got another friend that does a lot of photography. He's bought a real fancy camera lens. One of those white ones, I'll tell you, those are really nice. I wish I could get one of those. But I've been looking around. For used even, and they're out there, but I haven't found the right one. I want to get the right lens, and I'd love to get one of those 500, 600 millimeter zooms, the autofocus, and because going to Alaska, I'm going to see a lot. But even here, I could go up to the White Mountains. My father-in-law has that camp up in Colebrook. I think it would be pretty cool to get that lens. So I'm going to work on my wife on that because she's leaning toward the 300 millimeter because it's about half the price. But so don't tell my wife I said that. Hopefully she'll skip over this part of the show. But yeah, so hopefully I can, maybe talk her into hey, my birthday's coming up, so maybe that will help. What's the other one I wanted to talk about? Oh, what's really funny? I was talking to, I'm trying to think who, I can't remember. I drive the bus on for the elderly home locally here, the Hillsborough County. I love driving the bus. I just have so much fun doing that, bringing the residents out. I mean, we go to up to the restaurants, the Space Museum up in Concord. We went there. I did a couple tours at the State House. I gave the tours. I dressed up as a state rep and I drove them up there. And we just have a lot of fun. But I was talking to one of the volunteers and I said something about opening the door for my wife. And the two young aides that, help, they're in activities there. And it was just so funny. They go, "John, what'd you say?" I said, "I don't know. What do you mean?" "Something about opening the door?" "Oh," I said, "Yeah, I opened the door for my wife." "What door?" I said, "If we go for a ride. I always open the car door for my wife." And they said, "Guys do that?" And I said, "Yes, guys do that." And she goes, "None that we know." And I said, "Because you don't demand it." But so I just want to ask you guys, next time you go out with your wife or your girlfriend or something, can she open her own door? Absolutely she can. But do that. Do it just once or twice. You don't have to do it all the time. My wife gets in sometimes without me opening the door. Now, a couple times she'll joke with me. She'll go over and stand by the door, and then she's looking around. "I don't know how to get in." I said, "Are you going to make me get out of the car and open that door for you?" And then she will get in. Especially if it's raining, we'll both jump in because, we don't want to get wet. And even though my wife says I won't melt. But next time you guys go out, open the door and see what it does. I bet you'll put a big smile on her face. And I don't care if you're 25 years old either. Matter of fact, if you're 25 years old, you should be doing it. And again, you don't have to do it all the time. The other big thing I don't do is I never, ever, ever use that cell phone when I'm out to dinner with my wife. I see so many guys and wives do it. I see them both. They're sitting there looking at the cell phone. "Oh, what? What'd you say? Yeah, okay." And, they're texting all their friends. And I'm thinking, if they want to visit with their friends, they shouldn't have gone out to dinner with the other person. Put the cell phone down for 45 minutes. Those things, and right here, I'm using it for a timer. I love my cell phone. I hate to say that because I hate cell phones. But I love this Samsung. I think it's a Samsung 6 or whatever it is. They keep upgrading the model. But I just love this phone because it takes great pictures, and I do a lot of picture taking. But anyways, open up the door for your girlfriend or your wife and see the smile on her face, see what happens. What's the other? Oh, I did want to bring up the BERT line. And what I'd like to do is, with the BERT line, I started this a couple months ago, and I haven't done it very many times. But the phone number is 626-7446, and that's here in New Hampshire, 603-626-7446. And just leave a brief message. The shorter the better, because I'd like to air it on here. If you leave a bloviated message, I only have limited time. I can't do it. But what my question is this week on the BERT line is constitutional carry passed. Democrats said there would be shootouts in the street. That's what they did say. And I pointed out up in Vermont and Maine, they have constitutional carry along with 10 other states. Everything's fine in those states. But they said if New Hampshire passed it, there would be shootouts in the streets. So are our friends on the left wrong or right? So give me a call and give me your little blurb on what you think about that. So again, constitutional carry passed. Democrats said there would be shootouts in the streets. Are our friends on the left right or wrong or right or wrong, however you want to say it? And then I do got a little bit of sad news before I get to the bills that I want to talk about. I'm not sure how many of you saw Sam, my dog. He's been in a lot of pictures. Sadly, he's it's been a couple of weeks now, and I wanted to bring it up earlier, but I didn't think I could do it without, to be honest, without being sad. And I'm sad, but sadly Sam passed away. He had this big lump on his side in Goffstown. We bring him on Penardville there, Goffstown Animal Hospital. And at first they said, you know what, leave it alone. A lot of dogs have these fatty tissues. It moved, and my wife being a nurse, she reached under and moves it around, and everything was fine. Well, then toward the end, it was affecting him. It started growing again, almost 20%, 25% bigger. And I'm going, whoa, hey, what's going on here? But he's 12 years old, so we don't want to do surgery at that age. And then when he was walking, it was affecting him. So we brought him to the vet. We agreed on what to do, and sadly they started the operation, and the vet thinks that he threw a blood clot or something, and he never survived the operation. I mean, it was probably one of the hardest things I had to do, to tell my wife. I called her at work and I said, hey, Sam's fine, everything's going good. Why don't you come home and we'll go over and see him? And then when she got home, I told her the sad news. But what I feel now is, I miss him. Boy, he was a good dog. But he was asleep, and he just never woke up. So and the vet did. I got to find out the results. She said it was really nasty in there. She had it all done. She was ready to close him up, and then all of a sudden he threw that clot, and that was it. He was gone. That's what she estimates. She said it looked really bad. She wanted to do not an autopsy, but a blood test on it, on the tumor, because she said, John, and Phyllis, I really think it was cancerous. So in another sense, he was really going downhill quick, so maybe this is a godsend that it happened the way it did. But well, I'll tell you, you get the loved ones, and they're pretty, them furry friends of ours, they really touch you. What was really good too is I built these stairs that you climb up, 3 steps to get onto the bed. These are, I really put my heart into these stairs, and I wasn't going to throw them away. And my wife says, well, can't we save them for the next dog? And I said, well, it's going to be 10, 12 years before it needs it. I don't have the storage. I don't want to keep them. I'll just build new ones then, if we get to that point. But so we asked some people, and Phyllis found a friend of hers at her work, and they took the stairs, and I saw her the other day, and I asked her how the stairs were working, and she said her elderly dog, boom, 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 ran right up. So, things work out good. So let's touch base real quick on some bills. One of them is that granite hammer passed. What was the roll call? There was a roll call on it. 252 it passed by 108. I was in that 108. I'm trying to say, I wanted to say, there's good intentions everywhere, but not in this bill. 252 people said there was. It's going to add 5 state police, and plus it's going to add a lot of overtime, which our retirement can't afford, when I brought that up. And, it's going to add $2.1 million this year alone, or this next coming year, for the program. And sadly it passed, and it came out of my committee 15-3, and I was one of the 3. I fought it all the way, saying no, we don't need it. It's just not a program that we really need, because the program is designed to get heroin dealers off, and from what I understand, 15% of the money is going to heroin dealers. That's it. 85% is going elsewhere. Picking up people on pot, or whatever it is. And I'm just going, no, we got to change that. So that's why I voted against that. And I voted for this one, and this is some good news. We do some good up there. Relative to enrollment eligibility for regional career and technical education. What it's going to do is it's going to allow 10th graders to take career and technical ed courses at community colleges and get credit for it. And I'm thinking, that's a win-win. Because you know what? There's a ton of kids. They can't go to Harvard. They can't go to Yale. For one, financial. For another, they're like me. We're not smart enough to go there. Are we smart in our ways? Yes. But, I didn't go to college. I started my own business. And luckily, with common sense, hard work, I was extremely successful. But get these kids into a technical school. We're begging for plumbers. And plumbers make pretty good money. You got to be an apprentice for so long, and then all of a sudden, you can start your own business. or just work for somebody. There's a lot of good plumbing companies, and they got long-term employees. Electrical is another one. There's big electrical companies. If you don't want your own business, you get in there, do your journeymanship, you get up and you can make pretty good money. Welders, a friend of mine that used to work for me, Zach Hoppy, he went to Weldon right here in Manchester, that New Hampshire Community College. He took 2 years there and worked for me in the summers. Now, and I heard he went back to school to do underwater welding. And I'm like, how does that work? But I heard they make really good money. And that's what he's after, the good experiences. Oh, here's another one. Oh, I should have mentioned that. That's Senate Bill 101. Sorry for not mentioning the bill number. So Senate Bill 101 is the one for career technical schools. So if you want to look that up. Senate Bill 103, limit food and beverage advertisement and marketing on school property. The food police are after us because those billboards, sometimes the schools can get them for free and they got Coca-Cola or Pepsi on them. Well, the food police for the schools, they say, oh, we can't have that. Kids will look up there at the score and see Coca-Cola. Well, but that scoreboard's free and those aren't cheap scoreboards, or they maintain them or whatever the agreement is. I don't know if they're totally free, but so we killed that bill. That thing went down in flames. So I was happy with that. That's another good one. What is it? Oh, Senate Bill 191 was a big topic today. That was a long, drawn-out battle. The bill passed 247 to 116. I was with the 116, and it's to establish full-time kindergarten. And I think I mentioned this before when I went up to the State House. A lady says, well, please vote for that. And I said, but why should we have this? And she goes, well, I need some place for my 5-year-old. So she said, basically for daycare. And I'm like, well, why should the taxpayers pay for it? But, it passed. So, and the governor wanted it. And they even upped it. They went from 9.1 million. They said, oh, hey, taxpayers got a ton of money. We'll just add another 5 million in there, and now it's 14 million. Now it has to go to finance. And I heard the representative in the finance, they're not 100% on board with this. So, it's still open. I don't know what's going to happen with this bill. What's some of the other bills? Relative to vaccines administered by pharmacists. I'm not a big vaccine person. Now, do I think the basic, like you and I got, back in the 60s and 50s and the 70s, vaccines are good? Yes, because I think they work. But I'm understanding a child now, before they're 2, 3, whatever the age is, gets like 160 vaccines. And it's like 4 different vaccines, but or 5, they're all packed full of different vaccines. Our autism rate in the 70s, 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 55, or 1 in 45. I mean, it's some small number. They say there's 0 chance there's a link there, but you have to question it. So what this bill does, and this is Senate Bill 65, if you want a vaccine, and I say if you want it, knock yourself out. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm just not a big fan of it. But if you want one, if this bill passes, you can go to the pharmacy and get it and cut the doctor out. And then next time you go to the doctor for something, you just say, hey, doc, I got this vaccine. So I think that's pretty good. And then what was the other last bill I wanted to talk about real quick? The appropriations for the Department of Transportation for local municipal aid for bridges. I think it's $45 million. That was passed. Relative, and this is our Senator Lou D'Alessandro's bill, Senate Bill 242. Relative to video lottery and table games, that's the gaming bill, that baby went down in flames, 275 to 82. And I voted on the 275. But anyways, I just wanted to let you know what was going on real quick up to the State House. And again, constitutional carry. On the Burt line, 626-7446, constitutional carry passed. Democrats said there would be shootouts in the streets. Are our friends on the left right or wrong? And give me a call on that. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll play it next week or the week after. All right, until next week, I'll see you later. Bye now.